So, having said that, remember, EDIA every week, always due Mondays at midnight. So we have one open right now. It is due Monday at midnight. I'm not extending it anymore. Last quarter, because I added it way at the end, I just kept it open and I made it due even this week. I'm not doing that next time, okay? So you have to get your EDIA done. A lot of you get your homework done in class with time left over. Just use it. Just use it and get on your laptop and get it done. And then every Monday, remember, I'm going to collect stuff. So what I'm collecting tomorrow is Monday, is the green test review, the notes and homework from yesterday, and the notes and homework from today. There's just those three days worth of work, okay? Okay, so if you were here yesterday, this is going to feel pretty familiar, especially if you understood it yesterday. This is going to be, I think, pretty easy. We're just adding a step on to what we did yesterday. So if you remember, what we did yesterday was you were given a point and a slope. And a point is x and y, and the slope is m. So we had x, y, and m. Remember, we just wrote it down, x, y, and m. And what we did is we took those, plugged them into slope-intercept form, solved for b, and then we wrote our final answer with just the m and the b in there. So why we had to do all that work is because to write something in slope-intercept form, you need m and b. We had the m, we didn't have the b, so we used this process to get there, okay? These steps are going to be the same today with one added on. So what we're going to be given is, actually, I don't like this one's really decimally. I'm going to do this one. Let's take these, let's take these 2 points, and we want to write an equation of a line that goes through them. The equation of a line that goes through those, remember I told you guys yesterday, that is code for slope-intercept form. So just like yesterday, we want a final answer of y equals mx plus b. Now yesterday they gave us 1 point, and they gave us the slope. Remember, they gave us 50% of what we need. They gave us m, we just had to find b. They didn't give us either of them, but we have a way of finding the slope. Okay, so that's what we're going to start with every time. So I'm going to write these 2 ordered pairs up here so I have room, right? So I'm just rewriting -5, -3, and -7, -12 right here. And what I need to do is put this in slope-intercept form somehow, which means I need m and I need b. So you kind of go through that process. What do I have? What do I need? How do I get what I need? Okay? And to start, we need slope. And you guys have a formula, and it's written right here for you. You put it on your note cards, if you remember, put them on your note card for the last test. This is not on your reference sheet. I don't like that it's not on your reference sheet, but it's not. But we've used it a lot in this class. You need to know how to use the slope formula. So we're going to start with that. All the problems today start like this. Now listen, if I come over to help you and you haven't written the notes down, I'm going to hand you my notes to have you write those down, okay? By doing notes, it's not to torture you. Me having you guys write out the notes is so you practice and you have something to look back at when you're working on this independently. And how many times have we talked about this? Y's go on top. Look at the formula. So, and it says y sub 2. Second y minus the first y. So, second y is -12. Then there's a minus. That's part of the formula. It's right there. It says it right there. And then what is y sub 1? -3. What some students have been doing is they're like, oh, I already wrote a minus. I don't write 2 of them. You have to. The minus is part of the formula, and that y value has a negative in front of it. It is totally fine to put a minus and a negative, okay? And then we do the denominator. Look, second x minus the first x. Second x minus the first x. -7 minus -5. The rest is calculator. Now, I say that, and then I still have people messing up on their calculators. I think, and my pre-calc kids do this too, we do like really complicated stuff, like lots and lots of steps and very, very specific how you put it in the calculator with parentheses and all that stuff on these calculators. And they like to just watch me do it. And they're like, yeah, I get it. And then when they go to do it, they're not doing it right. There is something to be said about muscle memory. Okay? It's a real thing. By practicing and practicing and practicing, even with me, you'll make fewer mistakes on your own. Right? So to type that numerator in, that's negative 12. Remember, on these calculators, you have to put the negative first. I was at last. So 12 negative, right? That's what that says. Then that's a minus, and then 3 negative equals. What's the point of doing all the work if you can't put it in your calculator correctly? The whole answer is going to be wrong. Okay? So let me show you that again. 12 negative minus 3 negative equals negative 9. Let your calculator do the work for you. Over 7 negative minus 5 negative equals negative 2. Now guys, remember, you can't have two negatives. If you go to simplify this in your calculator, 9 negative fraction key 2 negative. Do you see how the negatives went away? That's because two negatives cancel out, become a positive. And remember, this calculator is going to take an improper fraction and change it to a mixed number. Do you guys remember what to press to get it back to the right kind of fraction, Alan? Yep, shift, and then your fraction button makes it go to an improper fraction. We very, very rarely use mixed numbers in any math class, really. We want the most simplified version of something, and writing something as a mixed number is bulkier. It shows it's got too much stuff. Okay? All right, so we got M. Yay! We have half our answer. But guys, here's the bad news. That's where we started yesterday, right? They gave us that. So this is the new part of the lesson. Going forward, we have all the same steps as yesterday. Now, yesterday we had 1 point. Today we have 2 points. How do you know which point to use? Do I use this x and this y, or this x and this y? Fun fact, it doesn't matter. You can use either one. I promise you, it does not matter. You can use either one. Let's use this one. So I'm going to plug in this m. X is negative 5. Y is negative 3, right? I'm going to use x, y, from right here, and m. You could have used this x and this y. In the end, you would have the same answer, okay? And now we're just plugging into slope-intercept form. Vitaly, come on. Here is, I'm writing it again. Because yesterday I was helping some people just plug the numbers in. They were having a hard time with that. We're plugging into slope-intercept form. Look, y equals negative 3. That means I put negative 3 where the y is. Okay? Then I put an equal sign. What is my m? It's right here. 9/2. An m and an x right next to each other means multiplication. You can use a dot. You can use parentheses. I like parentheses. And x is right here. It says x equals negative 5. So that's where I put negative 5. Then there's a plus sign, and b is the number we don't have. That's the whole point of this, is to find the b. And to simplify this, it's the same steps every single time. You're trying to get b by itself. So we have negative 3 over here, and we would multiply these two together. What that says is 9/2 times negative 5. Well, look, I already have 9/2 on my screen. Sometimes it's already there, so you don't have to type it again. I'm just going to do times 5 negative equals. There's that mixed number again. Like Alan told us, we're going to hit shift and get negative 45 over 2. Listen, we have to deal with these fractions in this class. Lots of fractions and decimals. The good news is we always get to use the calculator, and the calculator has a fraction key. We just have to know how to use it correctly. And there's only one more step, and that is to get b by itself. You're either going to add 45 halves to the other side or subtract. You're going to either add or subtract the number that's there. It can change from problem to problem. In this one, Sylvia, am I going to add or subtract? I'm going to add. And she knew that because of the negative in front. We want to be able to cancel them. Right? That got b by itself. And all I have to do now is, in my calculator, do -3 plus 45 halves. Again, you have to know how to put it in your calculator correctly. 3 negative plus 45 fraction p2. 19 and a half, let's change it back. Shift fraction 39 halves. I now have everything I need, my darlings, to plug into slope-intercept form. Remember an hour ago when we started this problem, we want to put our answer in y equals mx plus b. We now have the m and we have the b. And so we just plug them both in. Y equals 9 halves x. Since it's positive, I'll put plus. Yell at me nicely when I'm not showing you the screen. So you should have those steps in your notes to go back and look at. I have to do those steps. So you would have to do those steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign 4 of these in the homework. And I'm going to do the first one with you and then let you work on the last 3 on your own. If you go to the homework page in a second, which is page 213, there's not a lot of room. If you want to write on a separate sheet of paper, by all means, you may do so. I'm going to. Just remember, you would turn that paper in with your packet on Friday because you have to show the work. So if anybody wants a piece of paper, I will give you one, but I am definitely going to write on another piece of paper. I'm going to do 13 with you. Anybody need paper from me? Anybody over here needs paper? So make sure that if you're not writing on your own paper that you show all the work. I don't know where you're going to put it. Where's your paper? Dad, you finish the question? Okay. School, you working on it? Yeah. Well, I'll put one here. You're welcome to this paper. Number 13. If it helps you, you might want to, and this is optional, okay, I'm just putting the formulas at the top of my paper, so I just have them to look at, and I don't have to flip around to find them. Okay? And we're starting with number 13. All right, I need M and I need B. That's what I need. I need M and I need B. I don't have either. So how do I find it? I'm going to use my slope formula. Guys, this pattern isn't ever going to change. Second y minus the first y. Hey, Coach, would you mind escorting Jace to the restroom? Yeah. So he doesn't know where it is, so he needs someone to show him. I'm gonna show him right where Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, second y minus the first y, right? Second x minus the first x. Calculator. Pick up your calculator and do it. Don't wait for me. You do it. You always want to simplify your fractions. You can do it by hand, great. Or ask your calculator to help you. 8 over 6, enter, yuck, shift, fraction key, yay. Okay. 4/3. There's half our answer. Now you can pick either point. I promise you it doesn't matter. I usually look to see what point. Is there one that looks easier to me? Like, if there's one that's got fractions in it, I'm not picking that one. If one of them's all positive, that kind of makes more sense to me, right? So I'm going to use this point. But if you already started with this point, you can. Does not matter. Doesn't matter, I promise. So x and y and m. X, y, and m are going to get plugged in, okay? So y is 5, m 4/3 times x, right? Y equals m times x. X is 4. Then there's a plus sign and a b. These steps are the same every time. I'm going to multiply 4/3 times 4. These calculators love those mixed numbers. Luckily, it's easy to fix. So when I do 4/3 times 4, I get 16/3. Just brought everything nice down. And then you're either going to have to add or subtract to get this the other side. And that will change from problem to problem. What are we going to do with 16/3? Are we going to add it or are we going to subtract it? Subtract. Yes, because it's positive. Think of positive as like there's a plus sign in front of it. We just don't write it. The opposite of that would be a minus. Right? Two numbers with opposite signs cancel. You wouldn't do a plus and a plus or a minus and a minus. That wouldn't cancel out. And then back to the calculator, 5 minus 16 fraction key 3 equals negative 1/3. I now have everything I need to write my answer. And the answer I'm going to give you the key to the last 3. You have to show the work. Wow, see how fast that can happen? Amazing. And I'm looking for my key. Give me 1 second. But you guys can start working, and I'll put the answers up. you're writing on a separate sheet of paper, just make sure you include that with your packet you turn into me on Monday.
Lex, you remember that one?
So checking your answers, guys, as you're doing the slope formula. If you don't get 2/5 as your slope, something's wrong. Don't keep going, because that's not going to be good.
A lot of dead time there.